So what you're going to see, remember, is that these are all going to be like parts of your test, right? Okay. So we have our annotations out. We have our active verbs out. And we have our character traits. I'm going to say that we probably will stay away from the negative character traits for him. I'm not going to say that we will have negative character traits for him. I'm going to say his will be mostly positive character traits. All right? All right. Here we go. Remember, our end result for this is going to be these SAQs will end up being a test grade for you, right? You'll be able to pull 2 SAQs or 3 SAQs together and create like a full-blown body paragraph. We can do multiples of those for multiple body paragraphs. All right? All right. Here we go. So in, and this is called the narrative of the life of, and I'm just going to title it Frederick Douglass, and that is underlined. We're just going to shorten FD for short for Frederick Douglass. The character or person, right, would be Douglass. Recognize. No first name. Unless you know him personally, have had dinner with him, have his cell phone number. You may not call him by their first name. Okay? No Fred, no Frederick, no Freddie. I've heard it all. None of it. Okay? Can be characterized as what? What? Can be characterized as blank. All right, so here's what I need you to do. Go into, with a partner, go into your positive character traits, and I need you to circle 2 character traits, and then I need you to find the definitions for those. When you find these, I need you to jot down a brief definition out to the side, because we're going to continue to use this character trait list all quarter. So work with an elbow partner, find 2 character traits that you think that would identify with Frederick Douglass. Circle them, write the definition out to the side. You have like 2 minutes, go. Maybe up there. Did it multiple times.
I saw it.
We got 1 minute, work.
Easy. At least the positive.
So let me hear a couple, and then we'll kind of narrow it down, and then we'll make some decisions. What's one?
Passionate.
Okay, give me the definition.
I don't have that.
Okay, yours doesn't count. Yep.
Passionate, showing or caused by a strong belief or strong feelings.
Okay, agree with that one. What else do we have?
It's skillful.
Okay.
It's having or showing skill.
Okay. All right. What else?
Hardworking, tending to work with energy and commitment.
Okay. What else?
Strong, not easily disturbed, upset, or affected.
Okay.
Honest, morally correct.
Okay.
Clear-headed, alert, and thinking logically and coherently.
Okay.
Admirable.
Okay.
Deserving respect and approval.
All right.
Confident, feeling self-assured.
All right.
Self-disciplined, the ability to control one's feelings.
Okay. I like all of them. Let's pick two. So here's what I do is I'm going to use the bottom to kind of jot down my ideas, and then before I commit to something, I'm going to kind of look and see what I can prove. So what two, talk with your partners, what two that you heard did you like? You got 30 seconds, go. And you have to be able to prove it in this first chapter.
No, but Megan didn't, and she said the definition with it.
Prepared. All right, which ones do we like? Pick two. Which ones do we like?
I like passionate and admirable.
Passionate and admirable. Okay, what else did we like? You gonna let Lexi decide? What else do you decide? Strong and
Admirable.
okay, admirable. Okay, Justin, what did you like?
Passionate and what else? Hard work.
Okay, so I've heard passionate quite a bit. And I've heard admirable. Okay, so let's give me the definition of both again.
Admirable is deserving of respect and approval.
Okay. And then passionate is
Showing or caused by a strong belief or strong feelings.
all right. So now what I would like is I would like for you on the front, just on the front part of the passage, to find me at least two examples of each. Now, if I'm looking at this, I'm going to say admirable. I'm going to have to, deserving of respect. So I'm going to have to find something that he did, and then I'm probably going to have to go and define what respect means and say, like, why is that action or why is what he did there deserving of respect, right? Passionate, strong belief, I'm going to have to see, like, what is something that he did, where is his strong belief, and strong belief of what, right? So these are kind of complicated in order to find the quote that shows it, because you're going to have to explain to me why that quote shows it. You can't just say he is strong, he has strong belief because here's his strong belief, because he believes in freedom. That doesn't really show me anything. So you have, why don't, Brooks, which one of these do you want to do? Which one do you want to look for evidence? Passionate or admirable?
Do passionate.
Okay, this side of the room, find me two quotes on the front side for passionate. That side of the room, find me 2 quotes for admirable. Only on the front side, look at the things that we annotated. Ready, set, go. Jeez, Micah, just start throwing book stuff around.
I know, I'm sorry.
So we don't, nothing on the back.
Nothing on the back, just on the front.
So then you should be dessert. Why do you disrespect? Why do you deserve that? Why would you be respected?
Don't try, I'm sorry. It's great.
I'm so confused. Is it good?
I like it.
I mean, should I try it?
It's not bad.
I mean, if we're not working on this, then I can have you do it on your own, absolutely, and give you a grade on your own.
I knew I wasn't gonna find one.
Are we struggling or are we finding stuff?
Struggling.
Okay, so if we're struggling, then what's wrong?
It's definitely different on these.
Pick, what'd you say?
I mean, there's like nothing. There's words.
I mean, can we say that he's passionate?
Yeah.
Yeah, but is there a good example of
The whole thing.
the whole thing? Yeah, I mean, that shows, but we need a specific example. So, I mean, I agree with that, right? Go ahead.
For admirable, I thought of how he was being strong, being separated from his mother. In a way.
But here we've talked about that quote in last period too. And here's my thing about that. Did he make a choice to be strong? Or was he conditioned to not care? So for me, is that admirable? Do you know what I mean? Like something admirable would be like an action that they took or a decision that they made. Does that make sense? Okay, what else? Either one's fine.
How, he said that most masters within his knowledge like their slaves to be ignorant or whatever he said.
Okay.
And then, but he learned how to read and write on his own.
Do we have proof of that yet?
But he did it.
But do you?
He was writing the thing.
The book. Boom. We will, but we don't have proof of that action. Does that make sense?
Of him learning how to do it.
Yes. We will later. Again, just like Justin said, you can't just say the book. Boom. Right? I agree with you, but we have to have specific examples. Lexi?
So it's like a small anecdote. It's a common custom in the part of Maryland in which I ran away, and then it goes into something else about the mothers being taken away. But it shows that he did have the strength to run away, to get out of that situation. It's admirable that he got himself out of that because it was very difficult at that time.
Agreed, but do we know enough about that situation in order to use that quote?
No.
No. I agree with you. I agree with you. But here's the thing. We've got to find us a word that allows us to give a piece of evidence that allows us to say something. And if we can't just say, look, he ran away, we should admire that. We don't know what the situation was that allowed him to do that. Does that make sense? So what I would say is let's go back to the drawing board. What is a quote that you like? Jeremy, go ahead.
I was thinking ethical, because
Of the quote, or of this word?
the word, yeah.
Okay, why would you say that?
Because the way he was, what's the word? Somewhere in it talks about how he was like not only saying how degrading being a slave is, it's also degrading for the slave owner.
Ooh.
To make them
But that's
feel
on,
bad.
that's on the second page.
It is on the second page. It is on the second page.
There's a lot of stuff on the
What is the
second
first
page.
chapter?
Okay, so let's do this. Let's work backwards then. Find me a quote on the first page. Jeremy, I'll let you, if we can find on the first page, I'll do that. If not, on the second one that you do on your own, you can use that. So find me a quote on the first page, a piece of evidence that you liked, that you were like, dang, okay. What do you like? What is something on that first page that you like? Brooks?
My mother and I were separated when I was but an infant, before I knew her as my mother.
Okay, so what do you like about that?
It shows that he's strong. Like,
Does it though?
We're even over that.
I was talking
He was
about
conditioned.
yeah.
So I don't know if that shows strength. Because he was conditioned to not have that condition. So it wasn't something that he chose to do. Strength means strength of character, meaning that I chose to act a certain way. I chose to believe a certain thing. He didn't choose that. He was conditioned as a child to not have that connection.
But how do we know that though?
Because it says that the reason why the slave owners took them away was so that they did not have that connection.
That's what he believed. That's not what I mean.
No, that's like what actually happened.
Didn't he say something in the story about how like people would like still like make like comments to him because he was like interracial? Wasn't that a problem?
I mean, that's on the back talking about the mulatto, right? So look at what we annotated, right? Look at this idea of he has a want of information concerning my own was a source of unhappiness to me even during childhood. The white children could tell their ages. I could not tell why I ought to be deprived of the same privilege.
Just curious. I was trying to find that word.
Okay.
Found it now.
Is there one? Is curious on there?
Yeah, at the very top of the second column.
Okay. I would think curious, so curious would work. Look up this word. Were you going to say that?
No, I was looking at it, I was thinking about it, but I didn't know what it meant.
So look it up. Let's look up those two. Yep. What does principled mean? So we're marking out these.
Acting in accordance with morality and showing recognition of right and wrong.
So showing recognition of right and wrong. So this is like having this moral compass, right? So look at what happens. What y'all usually do is you slap down a character trait, find some quote, and just say, look, he's admirable because he ran away. Therefore, he's admirable. Right? Y'all don't try to find your way through it. So this is why we kind of come up with ideas first and then find the examples before we get in and actually write stuff down. What's the other one? So curious was what? What's the definition of curious?
Siri.
Hey Siri, what's the definition of curious?
Curious means eager to know or learn something.
Eager to know or learn something. Okay. So, which one shows? This want of information shows curiousness, but I think it's the next part where it says, the white children could tell their ages. I could not tell why I ought to be deprived of the same privilege.
It sounds more like envious.
Look at the definition of envious. Would that fit curious or would it fit principled right now? That wasn't an option.
Principle.
Why?
He shows that it's wrong, or it's not right for his race.
To what?
To not be like recognized perfectly.
To be forced to be ignorant.
There we go. Now, what's the definition of envious?
Feeling or showing envy.
What's envy mean?
Feeling of discontent or resentful longing or
Resentful longing. Is he resentful?
Yeah.
Not really.
the tone of the book was show resentment.
We would see it as being we would be resentful seeing that somebody else has something we don't, right? He is, like we said yesterday, he is stating it as fact.
They happen, yeah.
This is how it is. Now, does he probably feel like I should have that too? Absolutely, but that's what he's saying is right or wrong. So I would say, for me, I would go more with the idea of he is principled because he is showing an understanding of right and wrong. Does that make sense? Okay. So, the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass. Douglass can be characterized as principled. P-L-E-D. Not P-A-L. The principal is your pal. That's the principal up front. That's how I learned it in elementary school. All right. So what part of that quote do we like the most? That what? Yeah. So look at what I'm going to do. I'm going to write this on the very bottom, and then we're going to work how to embed this correctly. So I could not tell why I ought to be deprived of privilege. Okay, so I might be writing all these things down. So what I'm doing is I'm writing that at the very bottom because what I have to do is I have to embed it how? Contextually. So that's the quote that I want, right? So now I have to look at what's happening before. So what is it, if we're looking at this definition of right and wrong, what is happening before that we need to understand why he feels like he is being deprived? So Douglass is doing what? What's happening right before that quote?
He's explaining his childhood curiosity, or I guess, curiosity of why he didn't know his own age.
Okay, his childhood. I'm going with what Lexi said. No, you're fine. Douglass explains his childhood curiosity of not knowing. Oh, wait. The curiosity of his childhood curiosity of his birth date and his age. Okay. So that's that first part, right? And then what? What happens next?
He says how the African Americans thought what their age was.
Okay, and then what comes right after that?
It goes by like a planning time.
Do what?
It goes by harvesting time, planning time.
Okay. And so all he knows is his date according to the time of harvest, where no, in contrast to what?
The white boy's accurate date.
Okay. Now, I have to get into this part. So, what is a good marker verb for him, like, realizing this difference? What would be a good marker verb in here instead of saying he says? What would be a good marker verb? Stop looking at me. He what?
Compel. Emphasize.
Establishes.
Establishes means something happened. He what? He exposes that he should not be deprived. He what? Justin, what'd you say? Did you say something?
I said it.
What'd you say?
Questions it.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, so Douglas questions now look what I'm going to do. Douglas questions why he ought to be deprived of the same privilege. You can't say Douglas questions I could not tell why. That doesn't make sense. Douglas questions why instead of I, because you just said Douglas, right? You do he, and what you do is you do square brackets. So what that shows is that I just changed a pronoun to fit grammatically correct, right? Douglas questions why he ought to be deprived of the same privilege. Boom. So look at what we have so far. Then in the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass, Douglass can be characterized as principled in chapter 1. Douglass explains his childhood curiosity of his birth date and his age. All he knows is his date according to the time of harvest, in contrast to the white children knowing their exact date and age. Douglass questions why he ought to be deprived of the same privilege. So if you didn't know it, you wouldn't know that these were his words, because it grammatically is correct, right? All right, so now we look at what does principled mean. So Douglass shows a recognition of what is right and what is wrong when what? What does he believe is right? Wait, Guadalupe, what did you say? Like before when we were talking about this, you were like, he recognizes something. He recognizes, it was really good. And I was like, oh, I'm going to come back to that. Brooks, what were you going to say? I'm pointing at y'all.
I was just going to say, like, African Americans don't know their age.
Okay, well, it's the same thing that we say up there. So what is the difference? So the age is just the the minutia of it.
A gap of information.
Okay, so go ahead.
How they were forced to be ignorant.
What is right and what is wrong, because when he acknowledges that the lack of information given to slaves keeps them purposely purposely. Why can I not spell this? P-U-R. Purposely? Purposely.
Just ask Siri.
That's-
Yeah.
Hey Siri, how do you spell purposely?
Purposely. P-U-R-P-P-O-O-S-S-E-E-L-L-Y.
Is that stereo? Okay. Keeps them purposely, God, what was I going to say now? Ignorant. I had them going in stereo. That was awesome. I would say this shows the ability of slave masters to continue. This shows the ability of the slave masters to continue to dehumanize this entire group of people. All right, so what I'm going to expect of you, because we are still struggling to do this, is the definition. I need the word highlighted, and then I need where I actually see the definition in your analysis. What some of y'all are still doing is saying, Douglas is principled because, so I need us to use that definition to show that, okay? So what I need to see here is that you guys started with 2 words and then went in to find the examples and just said, boom, the whole book, right? But weren't able to go to specific instances, so we had to go back and change our word. So your job, you can work with a partner, is to write a second one. Here's what I would do. I would use the exact same word, principled. I would use the exact same definition. I would use the exact same start, but now your example has to come from the back side of the text. Okay? All right. That's what you're working on until the bell rings.